I'd like to welcome everyone to the September General Body Meeting for the American Institute of Architecture students at the University of Kansas. Moving right along, we're going to do a quick icebreaker for the executive board that you guys can feel free to answer. This QR code is going to stay up throughout all the slides, so do feel free to check it out at the end or even after the meeting or even later on in the meeting. No need to get it right now, but there will be more QR codes throughout this presentation, so do have your phone handy and ready. And the question I'm asking is, what do you want out of your membership? We have a $50 due for members, but what exactly do you want to see come of that? So first we'll go really quickly on to roll call. I think we may have had quite a few conflicts today with some of our board members, but Liz, if you want to take it away for those of us that are here.
All right, Ethan.
Here.
Lydia.
Here.
I am also here. Jaden is not here. Sam is not here. Jenna is not here. Lauren.
Here.
Lydia is not here. Leah is not here. Anne is not here. Molly's not here. Will is not here. Abby. Here. And Ashley is also not here.
Awesome. Hopefully they will get a chance to look at this a little later on in the recording session, but we will move on to the agenda. So what we're going to do is briefly review the last month's and all the things we did last month, go over some national reports, events, outreach, freedom by design, and then we're going to have a town hall section at the end. So yeah, kind of get you organized with how we're going to be going through this general body meeting. So first, to review September, how September has gone. We did have our membership week, which had a modest turnout. We were set to give away $150 worth of prizes, but we only gave away $50. So I hope that's an inspiration for everyone to get a little more involved with us, because you could have won $100 more worth of prizes and activities just by getting a little bit more involved in the organization. We also had our ARC Hangouts, some great ones, talking about mental health, talking about membership and being a part of the organization, and talking about interior architects, just to name the three that we had, all of which I think had great opportunities for you to learn a little bit more about the industry and the practice, and to hear from professionals or higher up in our own organization to learn a little bit more about that. We also did have a firm visit. We visited the firm BRR, which was really cool to see virtually. They were kind of our test guinea pigs for the virtual firm visit, but I think it went really well. And that is also up on our YouTube channel. So if you want to learn more about BRR, do feel free to check out that video and see what all they have going on. Student shoutouts, we got to see some amazing students last month. I'll highlight them again when we get down to that slide. But I'm really happy with that programming. I hope you all are enjoying seeing our students, and then also our professors through our professor highlights. Again, that's a program we started this year where we are highlighting professors around the school to get you guys a little bit more introduced to them. And then we had our first year raffle, which we ended up giving away $110 for one first year for their studio kit. So great programming. I hope this alone kind of shows you the value of getting involved with AIAS and showing up to some of our events, bringing in professionals, going to professionals, and so forth. But what's up ahead? I'm just going to briefly go over our nationals once more, like I did in last meeting. AIAS, American Institute of Architecture students. We do have our president, vice president, and Midwest Quad director all here lovely with their faces. These are great resources if you want to learn even more about the organization, or I am more than willing to put you in touch with any of them. I usually talk to them once a week, if not once every other week. So I can definitely put you in touch with them. Also, do follow their Instagram. As much as we are giving away, they're also giving away. So feel free to follow them at AIAS org and AIAS Midwest. And the Midwest Quad specifically, we do have Cornelius this semester. If you don't know who Cornelius is, look him up on his Instagram page at Cornelius.AIAS. But he's the Midwest Quad mascot. And so he's been bouncing around all of these states in purple, getting to experience different schools. We still do not have access to his Instagram account, but do be looking forward to that, as we will be showing some of his journey through Kansas and through the University of Kansas. So a little bit more with the national report specifically after familiarizing there. The I want to work in, the hashtag IWTWI, just had another blog post talking about working in Los Angeles. So if you are interested in working in that field, that is a great way to kind of get to know the environment that is within Los Angeles and their working environment. They do still have their in-studio main competition going on. Its topic is galvanized steel, and it does have a cash prize, which I think goes well above $200 or $300. So definitely something I would recommend looking into at the very least. They have a new blog post titled Change Making, where it kind of highlights political activist groups that are that should be interest to architecture students. Again, highly recommend at the very least looking into that blog post. And then membership month ends today. So I'm sure on their Instagram, they will be having some great end of membership month wrap up posts going out today or tomorrow reviewing it. But that is something that is ending sadly this month. If you want to look into any more of these information, feel free to just go to AIAS.org, and all of the blog posts are available there. But we have some conferences coming up. Like many student organizations, we do host conferences, and we have the Midwest Quad Conference 2020, which is being hosted by Bowling Green State University on October 23rd through the 25th. South Quad, which is hosted by Oklahoma State University, which is October 5th through the 8th. Forum 2020, which is happening in Chicago, which is happening around Chicago, January 5th through the 8th of 2021. And so this is probably the closest all three of those conferences are ever going to get with us, with maybe the exception of the Midwest Quad. So I highly recommend, at least, again, looking into these, seeing what they're all about. I'll talk a little bit more on each of them individually right now. So starting off with the Midwest Quad, so the theme for it is Revitalize. With a focus on restoring and repurposing historical projects, the future of architecture in our region can begin to be reimagine the past. So the kind of motto for this one is looking at architecture that was designed around the Rust Belt era and the Rust Belt region, and how we can look at it as kind of ways to reimagine the past and look at architecture in the future based off of it. The cost is $30 for members and $80 for non-members. So it's worth it to just get the $50 membership if you just want to go to this. And the website, if you want to learn more or if you want to buy a ticket, is www.revitalizemwq.com. Pretty simple URL. South Quad is themed Break the Blank. Architecture has many different backgrounds and identities, and it's not all conceived in the urban environment. So the theme around that is they are breaking the traditional form and idea of architecture by instead of having it go about kind of urban environments and super high-tech cities or things like that, it's looking a little bit more at breaking the tradition and the status quo that's kind of been put up by modern architecture by looking at rural architecture and looking at kind of more rural environments. So very similar to Lawrence ourselves, since I wouldn't classify us as a super huge city. The cost is $35 for members and $85 for non-members, and the website is breakthequad.com. Another super easy one. Forum 2020. I want to express this, I cannot express it enough, how amazing Forum is, and I know it'll be even more amazing even though it is virtual. All of these conferences of which will be virtual, but Forum is kind of the first thing I did to get involved with the chapter and with this organization, and it's a great way to kind of network and meet people from around not only the United States, but even across the world. So I would highly recommend, again, just looking into it, seeing if it's something you guys are able to do this semester. Palimpsest is the theme. So like the form of textual palimpsest, economy and resourcefulness may necessitate scrapping away what exists, but the traces will always remain on this single page. So for Chicago, I hope this kind of correlation comes a little easier, since it was pretty much scrapped for during the Chicago fire and has been rebuilt, but it constantly looks back at the traces that built it originally. So the cost is $150 for members and $200 for non-members. But at that point, I would imagine you would just want to just become a member of our chapter and then pay the membership, the $150. And the website is AIASforum2020.com. Another super easy one. So looking into October events, what do we have planned for October? We have a pumpkin carving contest, which will be happening, and we'll be giving away some more amazing prizes. The KUR Hangouts will be continuing, the firm visits will be continuing, and the general body meeting for October will also still be a thing. So I'm going to quickly jump over to Lauren and let her talk about the pumpkin carving contest.
Yeah, okay. So basically we have a pumpkin carving contest planned for this October. And so submission for a team starts tonight, and that'll end on October 11th at 11:59. And so you can gather a team of 1 to 3 other people, so 4 people max, and only one has to be an architecture student. So you can do this with your roommates or really any of your close friends that you're in that social bubble with. And so this will all be done remotely, but we will be distributing pumpkins on October 14th at Marvin Hall. And the submission cost, or the cost to submit, is $10. And with that $10, you do get a pumpkin. If you are remote and still want to participate, you still have to pay those $10. And then if you can't get to Marvin, then you would just buy your own pumpkin. And then your pumpkin submissions are due by October 26th at midnight. And I believe there is a QR code for the submission on the next page. There we go. So hopefully we get to see all your creative ideas.
Yeah, and I just want to say, last year we got to see some really cool ones. I think the one that won was a pumpkin carved out of Marvin Hall, which was really cool and super creative. So yeah, feel free to use X-Acto knives, which are just as good at cutting pumpkins as they are at cutting basswood or anything else. So do feel free to use some of those architectural tools that you have available to you. So moving on, we will go to ARC Hangouts. So like has previously been stated, and I hope you guys have been able to see on social media, they are happening every Tuesday at 6 p.m. And Saturdays at 12 p.m. We will be bringing in, and we already have brought in, some professionals, alumni, faculty, and more. These will be casual events where you can learn about the profession. So like I stated, the ones that happened in September were focused around mental health within the field and interior architects and kind of how they are introduced into the field as well. So more of these will be upcoming as well. And to get into those, we have this lovely list here. So starting off, I'll go over the Tuesday ones, and then I'll jump over to the Saturday ones. So the Tuesday one is Women in Architecture. We'll be bringing in some amazing women within the field and even within our school to come and talk about the environment of equity amongst gender within the field. And then we'll also be having the next week talking about certificates. We will be bringing in professors from the school to come in and talk about the certificates that are provided by the school. So things along the lines of historical preservation, BIM, and other certificates that the school provides. And then we're also going to probably have an intro to licensure one. I have that one in parentheses because as of right now, the Gould Evans event will also be happening on that date. So that date might change for the intro to licensure ARC Hangout, and we might move that away. But do be looking out for it if it's something you're interested in. We will be having it at some point in time. And then we'll be finishing off the October Tuesday ARC Hangouts with a list or a talk from alumni about job searching digitally. So I know a lot of us may not be able to attend the career fair next semester in person like we normally have, and I don't know what the plans are for that yet. But it's always good to be one step ahead and get some insight into how we as students can job search in this digital environment. So jumping over to Saturday ARC Hangouts, we have one happening this Saturday, which is going to be an AIAS discussion. So feel free to bring some topics that you want to ask us about or just talk about. And we might be also bringing in some faculty to talk a little bit about the school as well. So do be looking forward to that. On 10/10, we will be having a student mid-crit. So we will be having several students from AIS and hopefully from the rest of the school come in and talk about their studio projects and get some ideas for them. I think right now we may not be having the best studio culture happening digitally. So this is going to be kind of a way for you guys to talk to other students, both in your own studio, outside of your studio, and outside of your grade level. Following that, we will have on 10/17 a discussion on electives and minors from the upperclassmen to talk about electives that you may be wanting to take or minors that you might be interested in. On 10/24, we will be having a spooky hangout, playing some games like the wonderful horror trivia game that we've been playing at some ARC Hangouts, and playing some other games just to kind of de-stress everyone and decompress what might be a stressful week since mid-crits are going to be around that time. And then also the following week is going to be an internship guide. This might switch with the spooky hangouts depending on how if we want to do a little more Halloween themed, but since they are around noon, that might stay the same. But just keep your ears to our Instagram and our YouTube channel, and we will keep you up to date, I promise. So the next one is firm visits. So they are scheduled on Friday from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. If your studio does happen during that time, I would highly recommend just talking to your studio professor and telling them that you really want to talk during, or you really want to go to this event. More often than not in past years, they have been more than willing to let students step out of the studio for a bit and go to a firm visit to experience the professional world. So I definitely don't be afraid to ask your studio professor if they would make that accommodation. And the cost, which is again new this year, previously it was $5 for all non-members, but for anyone is completely free to show up to these events. They will be on Google Meets, so just join whenever you are able to. So the first one is Trainer HL. So I have their slogan here. We've learned and we must continue to learn. So that's kind of a little bit about them. Do, again, keep watching our social media for more information. But they will be happening on the ARC Hangout Google Meet link. So the one in the link tree that on Instagram that gives you the ARC Hangout, it'll be the same exact one. And this one is happening Friday, 10/9 from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. So next Friday. Do feel free if you are planning on attending or if you'd like to attend, scan that QR code really quickly and fill out the survey or the sign up genius where you can mark in your calendar that you are planning to attend. But Trainer HL is a firm we historically visited every single year. They have some great content and insight into the industry, and they're a local firm right here in Lawrence, Kansas. So great projects all around. Our next one for August is going to be HOLLIS Similar. So who they are is we don't simply design learning environments, we design the community and culture that happens around them, positively impacting the future of the community and its members. So if you didn't get it from their lovely slogan, their big thing is education buildings and education facilities. So if that is something that interests you, I would highly recommend showing it. Or if it's something that you just want to see more firms about, highly recommend showing up to this one. HOLLIS Similar is kind of a new one for the for the school. We historically haven't always visited them because I don't think their office has nearly the scale or is further away than we normally would like to travel. But this year, since we are digitally, it provides some new opportunities. So we will be happening again on the ARC Hangout Google Meet, and it'll be happening Friday, 10/16 from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. So you will have 2 opportunities to visit firms back to back starting next week and then the week after. So do be looking forward to that. A Sign Up Genius hasn't been made yet, but we will be having that out very shortly. Moving on, the future general body meetings. So general body meetings in general are to give update info on what the chapter will be doing next month, as we are doing right now and have done. So the last 2 that will be happening for this semester are on 10/28 and 11/18 at 6 p.m. They are open to everyone. You do not have to be a member of AIAS. You don't even have to be an architecture student if you want to show up to these. They are open to anyone interested, and they are happening on Google Meets, the very same Google Meets that all of you guys who are here are on. So moving on to outreach. We have a few outreach methods we like to use here at the chapter. Obviously, the biggest one is going to be our Instagram at KU_AIAS. And we are continuing to develop our YouTube channel where all of our content, ARC Hangouts, firm visits, and more is put up on. So if you have any questions or if you missed an event, do feel free to go back and look at it there. But for outreach more specifically, we do have our student shout-out program, our professor highlight program, and our MARVIN Minute episodes. So starting off with student shout-outs. They are shout-outs for amazing students. I have right here all of last month's student shout-outs. Big round of applause to all of those students for just being amazing students. They are happening every week, and they are open to any MARC or IA students. So do feel free to sign up your close friend or your studio mate that's helped you out with the project, or whatever it may be. We would love to hear and shout out some of the amazing work and accomplishments that students are making within the school. And it is happening on Instagram. So hopefully you all are seeing that. And then we also have our professor highlights. So these are happening once every month, a little more often depending on when we decide to put them out, but they are any professor, and they are just kind of there for you all to get to know the professors, since we can't see them in person, and it might be a little harder for you to kind of get familiar with those. So again, those are happening on Instagram. Do check them out. Do give them a great like. Our faculty do a lot of work behind the scenes that very few students are able to see. But as one that does get a lot of vision behind the curtain, if you will, I do appreciate all of the hard work that they put in to organizing semesters and things like that. So definitely give it a like, show their support on Instagram. And MARVIN Minute. This is a new program we started this semester. Just because we are digitally, it's harder for us to kind of get information out to everyone in the chapter. So every week on Sunday, we do publish a YouTube video, which talks about the next 2 weeks for the chapter and what that will look like. This is a great opportunity for you to catch up with everything we're doing and learn a little bit more about what you should be expecting within the following weeks and how you can get involved. It is open to the entire chapter or anyone who wants to look at our YouTube channel. So yeah, great opportunities all around. And then I briefly want to mention our calendars. So AIAS has been charged, as they normally are, with producing the strict calendars for the school. This fundraiser spans over 50 years, which is pretty remarkable. And so it's been a part of the architecture department for a really long time. It's meant a lot to a lot of our customers that have already bought them, but feel free to start jumping in on the tradition yourself. The calendars are roughly 3 inches wide by 36 inches long. They were originally designed to fit on the side of drafting tables so that your T-square wouldn't knock them off, and you could still have them readily available. So they have become very much a hallmark of the school and kind of something that is iconic amongst alumni, at least. But so yeah, so do feel free to get involved in kind of the tradition of the strip calendar. They're only $8, which is incredibly cheap for a calendar. You know, you don't find calendars that cheap very often, and even when they were first made, they weren't that cheap. So highly recommend jumping on the tradition. And then moving on to Freedom by Design. So Freedom by Design, if you are not familiar, is the service portion of AIAS that focuses on giving to the community or the chapter or the school in a meaningful way. So this semester, we are planning on working with the Lawrence Community Shelter on small projects to help them in this time. You know, as hard as it may be for some of our students, it can be significantly harder for those less fortunate. So we are trying to get projects underway where we can help them out in any way possible, even if it is just basic landscaping or cleaning out closets. I know they would appreciate any help they can get right now. So if you are interested in that, do feel free to fill out this QR code here. It'll let our Freedom by Design director, Jenna, know that you're interested in receiving emails and updates and how you can get involved with that more directly. With that, we are to the close and we are at our town hall. Is there any questions that you guys have about AIAS or anything in general? Not seeing any. If you do think of any, do feel free to reach out to my email address. It's aiaskupresident@gmail.com. And if you are interested in joining, it's just aias.org. And then do check out all of our social media. If you're not following us on Instagram, again, I cannot state this enough. It is the best way to understand what we are doing throughout the week or throughout the month with what's upcoming for the chapter and events. But with that, I will adjourn this general body meeting.